Good evening. My name is Michael Kirschman. I'm the Director of Virginia Beach Parks and Recreation, and it's my privilege to be here tonight to honor a true legend of Virginia Beach and the Bayside community, Lewis Jones. Before we begin the program, I'd like to ask everybody who can stand or would like to stand, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before I call up Honorable Mayor Dyer to say some words and to read the proclamation, I do want to recognize the numerous dignitaries that are in the audience this evening. First, of course, we have Mayor Bobby Dyer, Vice Mayor Rosemary Wilson, Councilman Josh Schulman, Councilman Michael Berlucci, Councilwoman Amelia Ross Hammond. We're also joined by Brenda Roberts from the Office of the United States Congresswoman Jen Kiggins. Also joining us is City Manager Patrick Duhaney in the back. Former Mayor Will Sessoms. Former Vice Mayor Jim Wood. The Honorable Les Lilly from the Circuit Court. And former City Manager Jim Spoor. I think that just goes to show what an impact Lewis Jones has had on this community and the leaders of this great city. So at this time, I'd like to call up the Honorable Mayor Dyer to say a few words and to also read the proclamation. Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Good evening, everyone. How we doing? What a great crowd. What a great tribute to honor a man who deserves to be honored. Councilmember Lewis Jones was a great civic leader, a successful business owner, and friend to so many in our community. He dedicated more than 40 years of service to Virginia Beach as the former mayor, vice mayor, and city council representative for the Bayside District. Lewis's legacy is drawn from so many significant milestones and accomplishments, almost too many to mention. The Lake Gaston Pipeline, the new convention center, expanded growth of recreation centers just like this one, and throughout the city, protection to our coastal resources and the many challenges we all face as a rapidly growing city. His experience and love for his city helped us to succeed on so many levels and carried us into the new millennium and beyond. Lewis was a true leader in every sense of the word, working and leading organizations throughout Hampton Roads, and from the Planning District Commission to the Bayfront Advisory Council, Lake Gaston Task Force, and just many others. He was involved on a regional basis like no other. That's because Lewis loved Virginia Beach and its people. He loved being in the position to help others, not just Virginia Beach as a city, but with the projects and ideas, and helped individual neighborhoods and communities. Personally, I very much enjoyed serving on the Virginia Beach City Council with Lewis. In 2004, when I came on the council, he took me under his wing as a friend and as a mentor, and we formed a very strong bond. and close friendship. I can't tell you how much that meant to me and how much that still means to me. Louis was blessed with extraordinary business acumen and the ability to look at a situation, assess it, and cut to the core of the problem. But then again, we all know that, don't we? Above all, he had a God-given talent to encourage, inspire, and lead people, which resulted in so many good things for our city over his years. Vision, persistence, knowledge, commitment, kindness, and love for Virginia Beach and the people that lived here were characteristics of Louis Jones. His dedication to Virginia Beach and the Bayside District was limitless. Because of his belief in what he did and his graciousness when working with anyone and everyone, made us by far the great city that we are today. I, like you all here, miss him greatly. So it is a true honor for me to be here this evening for the dedication in Louis's name. I'm happy his family can join us, and I know the pride they must feel today. I am proud that the City Council chose to bestow this honor, and I thank Michael Kirschman and the Parks and Rec for working so hard to make this happen. It is now my privilege to read a proclamation. Whereas Louis R. Jones served the residents on the City Council for 36 years. Whereas his tenure on the City Council included 2 periods of service as mayor, July 1st, 1982 through June 30th, 1984, and May 1st, 2018 through November 19th, 2018, and 15 and a half years as vice mayor, November 1st, 2002 through May 1st, 2018. Whereas Louis R. Jones is known as Mr. Bayside, and he was instrumental in many projects, including the Lake Gaston project. Without Louis, there would be no Lake Gaston project. Whereas Louis R. Jones passed away unexpectedly on June 18th in 2022 at the age of 86. Whereas the Bayside Recreation Center is located at 4500 First Court Road and serves at the recreation and fitness needs of the Bayside community and the surrounding neighborhoods. Whereas honoring the memory of Louis R. Jones and renaming the Bayside Recreation Center would be a fitting reminder to the citizens and visitors of his many years of service and dedication to this city. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Virginia Beach that, number one, that the Bayside Recreation Center, located at the 4500 First Court Road, is hereby renamed the Louis R. Jones Bayside Recreation Center. Let's hear it. And number two, that the city manager is hereby directed to take all steps necessary to revise the signage for the facility and all other references to the facility to include his name. And this was adopted by the City Council of the City of Virginia Beach at this day of 2025. Thank you all, and God bless you. It means so much to honor the family and the memory of a titan, of a hero, a man who loved his city like no other. Thank you all, and God bless you.
I do want to also recognize one more dignitary, and I apologize, this is my bad, it was written on here down in the corner. We also have with us today Sheriff Holcomb. Sheriff? Yeah, thank you. At this time, just before we get ready to cut the ribbon and unveil the portrait, we'd like to invite anybody that would like to come up to the podium and say a few words if you'd like to. So the podium is open if someone would like to come up. Vice Mayor?
I will be like Lewis, and I'll be brief. And all of you know what I mean by that. I'm looking at a room full of everybody that we all think that Lewis was our best friend, because Lewis made us each feel like we were his best friend. And when I decided, I was looking at running for council in 2000, and I was on the school board then. Lewis was one of the very first people that I met with, and guess where we met? Village Inn, Lewis's favorite spot. And he said, "It's your time. I think you'd be great, and I want to support you, and go for it, girl." And all of you know those are the kind of words that Lewis would make. I had a couple of nicknames for Lewis, besides Mr. Bayside. One was the Silver Fox, and the other was the Maestro of the budget, because as vice mayor for 15 years, he did the budget. I didn't think anybody else could do it but Lewis, because he was so amazing. And whenever we had a tough business deal, we sent our best guy in there to negotiate, which was Lewis. He knew how to negotiate a budget, negotiate a deal, excuse me. He's absolutely amazing. And as vice mayor, I'm always asking myself, what would Lewis do? How would Lewis handle the situation? Because he was just amazing. And often he didn't say a whole lot, but when he said something, boy, did we all listen. And he could swing something one way or the other just with a few words, because of his wisdom and the way he would look at the situation and gather all the information right up here, and then he would come out with great solutions. So, Miss Ellen, I know you miss him every single day, but a lot of people miss him, and I know that after he passed, we came and sat down with you and said, we really want to honor Lewis, and this is what the family wanted, and I think it's so appropriate to have this rec center. And by the way, I was a Bayside girl too. I went to Bayside High School, so often Lewis and I would talk about Bayside, and if he needed somebody to lean on for Bayside, he came to me, and he was also a real champion for the historic houses. Not everybody would take up the plight of the historic houses, but somebody needed to, and he always did that. So I'm always going to be grateful for his friendship, his caring, and his leadership, and what he's done for this city.
You got an old guy coming up here, and first of all, Ellen, it's just an honor to be here with your family for Lewis to get this wonderful recognition. I will sit back and tell you that Lewis Jones taught me one thing, and it's about being financially sound. And I imagine as a family member, y'all have learned that too through him. But I learned that this city can only be great if we're financially sound. And that's what really kept us focused on, we want the best police department, we want the best school system, we want these wonderful parks and recreation buildings, we want a fun place to live, we want a well-educated place to live. Guess what? You can't do it if you're not financially sound. And so from the bottom of my heart to Lewis, hope you're listening, thank you for that. And Lewis was always there to help me for 3 years out of 4. Now, to my colleagues that have served with me on council, I think they know what I'm talking about. If we needed to get something done right after he's been elected, that first year, he'll do everything he can to help you. That second year, he'll do everything he can to help you. That third year, he'll do everything he can to help you. But that year before that next election, let's think about that for a while. Am I not right, Rosemary? Amelia? He was that way, and it was very wise on his part. He was just shows you he was a great politician as well. But thanks for letting me have a few seconds to just talk about a dear friend that I respected greatly, and he did so much for not only this great city, his family, but he also did a lot for Will Sessoms. Thank you.
Councilwoman Ross Hammond.
Ellen and the entire family again, please accept my deepest condolences. Some people will wonder why I'm coming up. I used to call Vice Mayor, is all I called him, whether he was mayor or vice mayor, and he knew that. I sat with him when I first ran in 2011 because I felt it was important to be able to know the present council. And he was very gentle, he listened, and he says, I'll think about it. And he went through. When I sat with him and told him I've been along the community, I was then a councilwoman for Kempsville. And I said, I noticed that a lot of the African Americans have a wish that a lot of their history, their culture, isn't well known besides just immediate families. So I talked with him, I said, I would like to see an African American culture center for the education, not much of a museum. And I talked with the rest of the council and got that opportunity, but I said to him, I need some land. Where we're gonna put this? So he says, I'll find some time so we can go and look. And I remember it was in 2016, it was raining heavy. He says, I'll meet you over at Enoch. When I got there, he says, Amelia, the weather's bad. I'm gonna take you around, just jump in my car. And we went from place to place. I don't like this one, or maybe that, and we kept circling. He was very patient until I found that land, which used to be the Lake Edward Park, and it doesn't flood. I said, I like this one. You sure? I said, yes. He says, we'll see what we can do. And once you heard that from him with a smile, when we finally got back to Enoch, we realized all the oceanfront area had flooded because of that storm. But he took that time. We got that place. He was there for the blessing of the land. And then even after that, I came back, talked with him about gifting that land. I said, because it's important as ownership. And again, he was part of the group and the council who unanimously agreed for gifting this land. So to me, he is very special. He didn't have to do that, but he has a heart. And that heart, I spoke to him even the day where he unexpectedly passed. We were talking at 8:30. I was over, it was Juneteenth time. So just to show you. And one of the little extras he used to do with us was bring us at Christmas time these huge poinsettias. A lot of you will remember. They came to your house. And that just brightened up the day. So I really, really miss him. I wanted to let you know you had a very kind-hearted man that cared for all people. Thank you.
Councilman Schulman.
Hi there. My name is Josh Schulman, and I represent District 9 on the City Council, which comprises a decent portion of the former Bayside District. And I'll tell you, when I started in January 23, I couldn't find a pair of shoes big enough to fill. I had just and have a tremendous amount of respect and appreciation for former Councilman Jones. I grew up elsewhere and moved here just shy of 20 years ago. And it's because of the vision and the hard work and the financial wherewithal of folks like Councilmember Jones and former Mayor Sessoms and former City Manager Jim Spoor and all the Jim Wood and everybody, and our mayor and the folks who have served on this council to create such a wonderful city and opportunity for people to come here and grow and realize their full potential. I wanted to share with you on my journey, kind of, to making the decision to run for office. I didn't know Councilmember Jones very well, but we knew each other. And I served on the Wetlands Board at the time in 2018 when he was serving as mayor. And I was walking out of Old City Hall building, walking down the sidewalk, and after a Wetlands Board hearing, and out pulls Councilmember Jones in his gigantic Suburban out of the City Council parking lot, and I saw him. He looked at me, and he stopped the car, put it in park, got out of the car, and walked up to me, shook my hand, and just said, "Hey, how are you doing? How's the Wetlands Board going? And how can I help you? And thanks for your service." And for as large of a personality and for as profound a public servant as he was, I just found it incredible, and it was a lesson for me going into politics and just being a human being, to slow down and to pay attention to the person in front of you and ask questions about them and take a genuine interest in them. And he really changed a lot of the way that I kind of view people who serve in office that day, because we're all just human beings, and he really was just wonderful about showing that human element. And I'll forever be grateful for that memory, and the others like it, where he made everything else stop, and he focused on you, and he asked about you. I think just as a person, and especially as an elected official, that's something that we all should strive to do. So thank you.
Councilman Wood.
Didn't know if I was going to do this or not, because it's kind of tough. I was really close to Louis. I sat next to him at council for many years, and when Josh started talking about Louis with the big SUV backing out, I just remember the time Louis backed into my car at the parking lot of the city. Now it was a good time. I had a Volkswagen. It was one of the ones that they had recalled, so they were gonna chop it up anyway because it was one of the cheating diesels. And I remember Louis getting out of the car saying, "Here, let me give you cash. Don't tell anybody." And I'm like, "Louis, they're going to chop it up. Don't worry about it." And I remember taking it to the Volkswagen place, and they said, "It's fine, it's fine." So we were talking about the deals and things like that, and it made me think about, the first time I really saw Louis in action, and it was I remember it was BRAC, right? All the BRAC stuff that went on. Myra was the mayor at the time. She was out of town. And the big issue, you remember, was the near post property. Some of you guys remember this. We had to buy this property because it was a big deal for the Navy, and we had Governor Warner, Senator Warner, and Senator Allen, who were all there in the mayor's office. And the mayor wasn't there, and so Louis brings me and says, "Come on, I want you to learn about this." And Les was there, and Jim was there, Spoor. And I'll never forget, they said, "We want to do this." We figured out how much it was going to cost and everything, and Louis says, "Well, we'll do it. You got to pay for it." And the state and the Fed guys said, "Oh, we'll pay for it." And Louis looked him right in the eye and says, "But we get to keep it." And so we kept the title to it. I think the city still owns that property that Louis talked him into doing it. And it was also interesting because when, Louis knew a lot of stuff about a lot of different things, and genealogy was a big thing for him. And I remember when my uncle had passed away, my uncle had left a big box full of genealogical records, and I was talking about something about one of my relatives, and Louis looks at me, he goes, "What was that name?" I told him. He goes, well, you're my 5th great something cousin. So I'm actually a family member. I've not been to Thanksgiving. You guys keep leaving me off the list. But apparently my great somebody back there was married to one of Lewis's great somebodies. So it was, I thoroughly enjoyed working with him. You know, he passed away the day that they dedicated a building for me at Thalia. And I think about that every day when I drive by there, that happened. And, you know, I just remember, you know, he was engaged in the business of the city to the very end. You know, Casey and I talked about this, that, you know, he went out there and was going door to door and doing that sort of thing. And, you know, he was an incredible person, and I certainly do miss him dearly.
Anyone else? Sure.
Hello, everybody. My name is Wally Damon. I grew up in this city right here. I went to Bayside with that girl right there when we were in 8th grade. Walked in the door the same day, the same time. Caught a bus to Bayside High School from this house on the corner of Greenwell Road and Delco Road. This was the woods I played in right here. This is a funny thing. I mean, I go to Bayside Rec Center. I shot pool tournaments here. I helped build the Great Neck Rec Center. So they're identical twins. This is a petition that I did in 1998 to put a sidewalk on Greenwell Road. I stood outside of church over here, Bayside Christian Church, and I got 308 people to sign my petition for this sidewalk at Greenwell Road. When I first talked to Lewis about it, he said, I'll sign your petition, and he and Leo Wardrop showed up and signed my petition. Then I asked him what some of the parameters are going to be we're going to have to take care of to get through this thing. And he said, well, first of all, I want to show it to Myra. So I put it in his hands. And this is the original right here in my hand. He put it in Myra's hands. And I had met Myra before that at a legislative send-off at the Ironworkers Union Hall in Norfolk. So, and I really didn't know her very well, but I was beginning to know Lewis pretty well. So I handed it to Lewis. He gave it to her. I tried getting her on the phone a week later, and I said, well, this is ridiculous. She'll never call me back. And I was in my car driving to Norfolk, and she called me. She called me. I don't know how many people ever got a phone call from Myra Obendorf, but she called me and she said, you know, we went through all these things. And she said, well, it's going to probably be $800,000. And I have the letter here that she sent to me where she outlined the $800,000 it was going to cost to build it. And I said, Myra, please, you know, I'm the elected representative for the Carpenters Union in Hampton Roads. My carpenters and I will come and build this sidewalk for you for $400,000. We'll do it for half of that. So she thought that was cute. But anyway, I got a letter from her and our city council, and our city clerk did, said it was going to be $490,000. When they finished it 7 years later, it was $360,000. Thank you very, very much for all the work Lewis did. Thank you for having somebody like him in your family. He's a wonderful guy, and I'll never forget him.
Any other speakers?
Good evening. My name is Meg Jones, and I have the privilege of being Lewis and Ellen's granddaughter-in-law. My husband and I went on our first date 26 years ago, and we went on our third date to Aldo's with Grandma and Grandpa. So one thing I learned very, very quickly in joining the Jones family and spending time with them was that Lewis loved the city of Virginia Beach. He was so proud to be on city council. But one thing he loved even more than the city of Virginia Beach was his family. And he was so proud of all of his children and his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren. But most of all, he loved and he cherished his marriage to Grandma Jones. And so they just had such a beautiful marriage and relationship, and he really did love the city of Virginia Beach, but he definitely loved his family just as much and more. So thank you.
I don't know if anybody wants to follow that, right? Well, it is quite obvious that Lewis Jones left his fingerprints all over this city, over so many projects, and the memories will be there forever. And moving forward now, his name and his portrait will forever be here at Bayside Recreation Center, the Lewis Jones Bayside Recreation Center. So at this time, I'd like to call up the following people for the ribbon cutting. Could I have the Honorable Mayor Dyer, City Manager Duhaney, all of the current council members, and Mrs. Ellen Jones will come up and be accompanied by her grandson, Casey Jones. Thank you. Sure, come right over here. At this time, we're going to unveil the portrait, and I do want to recognize Keith Forrest from Forrest Photography, who was the photographer for the official portrait. That concludes the ceremony. At this time, we have refreshments and drinks. Please make yourself at home, and let's tell some stories about Lewis Jones. Thank you, everyone.